They and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. And all Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up also. And there came out a fire from the Lord, and consumed the 250 men that offered incense. Okay, which is that idol worship, man. They're all about themselves, man. They're not about Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They're not about being obedient, submissive unto Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. They're rebellious. They're rebels. It tells you that in the book of Ezekiel. Let me get it real quick, just to pull it out. This is Ezekiel 20, same verse that I was in. It says, Ezekiel 20 and 36, like as I plead with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith the Lord God. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. And I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. Okay? So going back to Psalms 106 and 18, and a fire was kindled in their company, and the flame burned up the wicked. They made a calf in Horeb and worshipped the molten image. You see, so they were already being stubborn. They're already in the midst of idolatry. Now it just manifested itself, because everything starts in the mind, and then it manifests itself through the flesh. Okay, so they were already into idol worship. They were being led in the way, but they were carried away by the dumb idols. While they were being led in the way into the promised land, they were being carried away with dumb idols, starting with themselves, man. You know, ultimately going into all the other nations, they continued into serving and worshiping wood and stone, as it was prophesied in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28. Okay, but even during the time of Moses, they were doing it. It says, they made a calf in Horeb, which is Mount Sinai. When Moses went up into the mountain, you know, he was there for 40 days, 40 nights. They lost patience. He came down, and he saw they were worshiping the golden calf, and worshiped the molten image. Thus they changed their glory into the similitude of an ox that eateth grass. You know what I'm saying? So they changed it up for an ox that eateth grass, man, versus a power that is capable of delivering them from the Egyptians, man, that was able to split the Red Sea, and where the ground was dry. It wasn't muddy. They walked through that path, man, through safety. But they went from that, they reduced that to a golden calf, an ox that eateth grass. That's bugged out, man. That's why the Most High has brought us to the level that we're at, because of that, man. That's being, you know, you're you know, what is it called? You're demoting, not demotion, but you're getting you're not wanting the best, man. You know, when the Most High gave you everything, He gave you your wool, your flask, He gave you your wine, He gave you everything that you need, the necessities of life, but you despise Him to go to these idols, man, to worship the so-called white man, to worship money, to worship your woman, to worship false gods in the Catholic Church. That's what you Latin tribes, you so-called Mexicans, you go to the Catholic Church, and what are you doing? You're bowing down to a priest that calls himself Father. You got the rosary beads, praying to Santa Maria. You're doing all that stuff that has nothing to do with what the Most High said to do, man. He told you to stay away from these things. It said, thus they changed their glory into the similitude of an ox that eateth grass. That's why you're led as sheep or cattle to the slaughter, man. Sheep to the slaughter. Because what is an ox or a calf? They're meant to be slaughtered and ate. They're meant to be food. You know what I'm saying? So that's why Yahweh Shai is liking you as to cattle or sheep, because they're led to the slaughter, man. You know, or kine, K-I-N-E. That word kine goes back to cattle, man, or ox, cows. We know them as today as cows, you know. In their time, they're probably, you know, those wilder beasts, you know, things like that, you know. It says, they forgot, Psalms 106 and 21, they forgot God, they forgot Yahweh their Savior, which had done great things in Egypt, wondrous works in the land of Ham, and terrible things by the Red Sea. Therefore he said that he would destroy them, had not Moses his chosen stood before him in the breach to turn away his wrath, lest he should destroy them. See, the Most High was supposed to destroy you countless of times, man, or destroy us, because he remembered that covenant, man, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. Yet they despised the pleasant land, they believed not his word. See, so they didn't believe. They didn't have faith, man. You know? They believe that they're going to bring prosperity into their own hands. It's like today. They have that same shit, and, you know, you got all these motivational speakers, and that's what they be speaking. They don't bring in the Most High Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. This is Deuteronomy 32, and 16, they provoked him to jealousy with strange gods, and abominations provoked they him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not unto the Most High, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that they newly came up, whom their fathers feared not. Right? It said, of the rock they begat thee, thou art unmindful. Of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful. So the rock is who? Yahweh Shai. He was that scene where that account where Moses struck that rock and it gushed out water was Yahweh Shai, man. Because what would happen to Yahweh Shai? Yahweh Shai had to be shot, you know, crucified, put down. But what did Yahweh Shai say? Out of my belly shall flow rivers of living water, man. You know? You know, that was going to go out to the earth. That's what we're doing right now. We're dispersing, like I said in many videos, we're like conduits. All those brothers are conduits to the Spirit, and we're all connected, and we're channeling water to the masses, man, by way of the internet. It said, of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten the God that formed thee. And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very froward generation, children in whom is no faith. Now we know faith is believing, man. Right? It's a confidence of things not seen. It's the believing of things not seen, man. You know? It's like they didn't see Moses, so what? They thought he was gone. They had to take it into their hands to make certain moves. No, man, but the moves that they chose was going off. They said they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. See? And that's what the Israelite foreigners, man, that were dispersed, that were following after the traditions, you know, the customs of Israel. But they believed in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. You know? That's who was going to make them jealous of. You know? By way of that, man. Which means that Israel scattered everywhere, so we have to go everywhere. Not just in a designated area that's highly concentrated with Negroes or Latinos, man. We have to go everywhere. Everywhere. Like I said, and if you don't make that decision, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is going to make it for you. Deuteronomy 32 and 22, for a fire is kindled in my anger, and it shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. You know? And that's what Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is going to use by way of fire, man, to destroy this place, man. Okay? So going back over here to Deuteronomy, or Psalms 105 and 24, yea, they despised the pleasant land, they believed not his word, but murmured in their tents and hearkened not unto the voice of the Lord. Therefore he lifted up his hand against them to overthrow them in the wilderness. to overthrow their seed also among the nations, and to scatter them in the lands. They joined themselves also unto Baal Peor, and ate the sacrifices of the dead. So they were continuously going from being stubborn, which is idolatry, to idol worship, which is the golden calf, up to Baal Peor. Now I'm going to look up that word, Baal Peor, because we know Baal means Lord, and that was what they were worshiping, man. Okay? Let's go over here. Type it in, Baal. Numbers 25 and 23, right? It says the same thing. Numbers 25 and 23. Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, right? So I'm gonna look up that word Baal Peor, which is Baal Pawayar. It says the Lord of the Gap. The deity worshipped at Peor with probable licentious rites. Okay, so this was a deity, a demon that they were worshiping, Baal Peor, man. You know, so they went from the golden calf to the Baal, man. It's like today, the Negro Latinos and Native American Indians are constantly going out to different gods and worshiping, man. And the primary God that they worship today is who they call Jesus Christ, the white man. Basically, that's who you're worshiping. You're bowing down to the white man, man. Okay? So that's two gods that they worship during this time with Moses, man. As they were led. Led where? To the land of the promised land flowing with milk and honey, man. You know? It says, the Strong's definition, it says Baal of Peor, Baal Peor, a Moabitish deity. So that was the god of the Moabites, right? It's like Moloch, Chemosh, Chemosh. Got all the different kinds of gods, man. All these nations, you know. So Khan, you know, that's that there. But you can read the book of Numbers. The book of Numbers when they were in the wilderness, man. You know. So going back to Psalms 106 and 28, they joined themselves also unto Baal Peor, and ate the sacrifices of the dead. Thus they provoked him to anger with their inventions, and the plague brake in upon them, and stood up finesse and executed judgment, and so the plague was stayed, and that was counted unto him for righteousness unto all generations forevermore. And they angered him also at the waters of strife, so that it went ill with Moses for their sake, because that's what caused Moses not to go into the promised land, man. It wasn't commanded unto him to strike that rock. Okay? You know, he did it in anger too. It says, because they provoked his spirit, so that he spake unadvisedly with his lips. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them, but were mingled among the heathen, and learned their works. See? So they were just learning after their works, man. You got to remember, they're in the mount, or in the wilderness. They were camping around these other nations: Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites. Okay, and they were just watching and seeing everything and picking up, you know, being influenced by their ways and shit, man. But you had the brothers, the elect, warring against them. It says, and they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. Yea, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils, and shed innocent blood, even the blood of their sons and their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto the idols of Canaan, and the land was polluted with blood. See? So it was an ongoing thing, man. Ongoing thing with these people, these Israelites. This is 1 John chapter 5, verse 21. Little children, keep yourselves from idols. Aman. You see? So you have to keep yourselves from idols, man. Idol worship. Idolatry. Okay? This is 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High? Be not deceived, neither fornicators nor idolaters. See? So it's that same word, idolatry and idolaters, is because somebody that is committing idolatry, somebody that's going into idol worship, that person's not going to inherit the kingdom of the Most High, man. It says, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, man. Okay? That's why they weren't able to go into the promised land, man. Because of all their atrocities that they were committing. They were committing heinous crimes, man. You know? Worthy of death. And that's exactly what the Most High put on them, man. Bring out this one. The book of Job. This is Job 31 and 11. For this is a heinous crime, yea, it is an iniquity to be punished by the judges, man. You know? So Israel were committing heinous crimes, man, in the sight of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, as it's being done to this very day. All these things are being committed unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, man. You know? So that's why we're coming out here into the highways and the byways doing what we do, man, to warn our people from these things, man, that are detrimental to their salvation, to their soul. They said that they had to put a snare upon themselves, man. Idol worship is a snare, man. It's a trap. All right. Let's get this one. This is Hosea chapter 4, verse 15. Though thou, Israel, play the harlot, yet let not Judah offend, and come not ye into Gilgal, neither go ye up into Beth-aven, nor swear, the Lord liveth. For Israel slideth back as a backsliding heifer. You know? And it's of no coincidence that they're worshiping a golden calf when they're just like that, man. You know? Thick and fat, can't even walk up a hill, and they fall on their ass, man, and slide right back down. You know? It said, Israel slideth back as a backsliding heifer. Now the Lord will feed them as a lamb in a large place. Ephraim is joined to idols, let him alone. You see? Because they're into idol worship, man. You know, that's why you don't, if somebody's heavily into idol worship, you give them the bare minimum, man, and that's it, because they're going to go off. Those idols carry demons, man. A heavy, high vibration of demons, man. Idols. Okay? And it's a snare unto the soul, man. Right? This is Hosea 8 and 5. Thy calf, O Samaria, hath cast thee off. My anger is kindled against them. How long will it be ere they attain to innocence? For whom Israel was, it also the workman made it. Therefore it is not God, but the calf of Samaria shall be broken in pieces. So all these idols are going to be destroyed by way of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, man. He's going to crack them and destroy them, man. You know? I remember when I first came into the truth, you know, I went into the house and got everything and thrown all shit that was had nothing to do with scriptural, or that wasn't in the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, went into the trash, man. It was out. It's like the men of the Lord, that's what they did, man. They went and got all that shit, Christmas trees, Christmas lights, all the bullshit, and just threw it away, burned it. Basically, that's what we did. We burnt it, threw it out, man. Got rid of that shit. Crosses, it didn't matter if it was real gold, got rid of that shit, tossed it out, man. You know? It says, for they have sown the wind, and they shall reap the whirlwind. It had no stock, the bud shall yield no meal. If so be it yield, the stranger shall swallow it up. Israel is swallowed up, now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. See? So Israel's all sucked, dried up, man, wasted. You know, because of these idols, because of the things that they get themselves into. You know, being destructive unto themselves, because that's what it all is, man. Israel's destructive. You know, they destroy themselves, man. It says, for they are gone up to Assyria, a wild ass alone by himself. Ephraim hath hired lovers. Yea, though they have hired among the nations, now will I gather them, and they shall sorrow a little for the burden of the king of princes. Because Ephraim hath made an altar to sin, altars shall be unto him to sin. I have written to him the great things of my law, but they were counted as a strange thing. See? So, the Most High, Yahweh Shai, was strange unto them, man. Just like now today, people see me out in the highways and the byways, and they think this is a strange thing. They're like, man, what's this dude doing? What's he speaking about? You know? Why is he wearing this garment? Why is he wearing that dress? You know? It's a strange thing unto them, man. It's a strange thing to hear the name Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. They're like, what did he say? What did he just say? Who's he talking about? Who's he talking to? You know? I have written to him great things of my law, but they were counted as strange things. See? But the things that are really strange, that's what they love. They love the wicked, man. They love evil. That's why Isaiah, in the book of Isaiah, said, woe unto you that call good evil and evil good. You know? That count, you know, what was it, bitter for sweet and vice versa? You know? It says they sacrifice flesh for the sacrifices of mine altars and eat it, but the Lord accept them not. Now will he remember their iniquity and visit their sins, they shall return to Egypt, which is today over here in the land of America, man. Ultimately, because they went back into Egypt during the time of Jeremiah after the Babylonians. Some of the children of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi went into Egypt, while the rest went into captivity under the Babylonians. So there's certain incidences where they went into Egypt, but ultimately it's over here in America, man. Spiritually known as Egypt and Sodom, man. Doing the same shit over and over again. For Israel had forgotten his maker and builded temples, and Judah had multiplied fenced cities. But I will send a fire among his cities, and it shall devour the palaces thereof. Right? That was ultimately through Nebuchadnezzar, man. Nebuchadnezzar's when he burned down the walls, ransacked Israel at that time, you know, the southern kingdom, and took them captive, man. You know? But they were heavily into worshiping idols, man. You read the book of Hosea, and that's a lot of it. That's what it's about, man. Like Hosea 11:1, it says, "When Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Egypt. As they called them, so they went from them. They sacrificed unto Belial and burned incense to graven images." See, once Abraham Moses brought them out of Egypt, they went into straight idol worship, man. You know? I taught Ephraim also to go, taking them by their arms, but they knew not that I healed them. I drew them with cords of a man, with bands of love, and I was to them as they take off the yoke on their jaws, and I laid meat before them. See, because Most High, he was their protector, he was their healer, there was a provider, man. You know? But they didn't know it. You know? They didn't want to have faith. They didn't want to believe and acknowledge it was Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. You know? They just wanted everything given to them, fed to them. You know? I want this now, I want this right now, I want it now. No, man. It says, but he shall not return into the land of Egypt, but to the Assyrian shall be his king, because they refused to return. And the sword shall abide on his cities, and shall consume his branches and devour them because of their own counsels. And my people are bent to backsliding from me. See? Because they're going back into idol worship, man. They're being stubborn. Always backsliding, man. You know? Rejecting the Heavenly Father's word. You know? Worshiping the moon, the stars, and the sun. The fish. dogs, cats, animals, you know, women, men and women. That's it on there. Let me go over here to the book of Romans 1 and 18. For the wrath of the Most High is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness. And they had the truth before them, man. They saw Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai with their own eyes, man. Basically, the power of him is his wonders. And rejected him, man. They saw that the firstborn of all the Egyptians were put to death. When they put the blood, the blood of the lamb on the doorpost, man, and protected them from the angel of death, which was Yahweh Shai that ran through. You know? Because that which may be known of the Most High is manifest in them. For Yahweh has showed it unto them. See? For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Because that, when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things. Went into straight idol worship, man. They changed the similitude, as I said. Let me bring that out again. Psalms 106. Psalms 106 and 20. Thus they changed their glory into the similitude of an ox and eateth grass. They forgot their God. They forgot God, their Savior, which had done great things in Egypt. See? So they turned these things into to idols, man. Okay? It says, and changed the glory of uncorruptible God into an image made like to a corruptible man. Because man is corrupt. The animals are corrupt. They're flesh. They're flesh and blood, man. What does the flesh and blood make you do? It makes you go off. It makes you want to be destructive to yourself, man. You know? To liken the Most High unto these things, man. Into an idol that can't speak, can't listen, can't do anything, can't move itself, can't shake the dust off itself. You have to go in there and clean it like a little baby, man. Can't do shit for itself, man. Wherefore the Most High also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of God into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. So wow, okay? That's what happened, man. Most High gave them over to their own ruin, unto this very day. Right? And I'm gonna jump down all the way down to verse 32. Who know the judgment of the Most High. Why? Because they heard the oracles of the Most High. They heard the laws and commandments. It was spoken unto them. Who knowing the judgment of the Most High, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. Alright? So that's the point on that, man. You know, stay away from idol worship. You know, that's the understanding on 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 2. You know, and you know, and to this very day here in America, they're doing the same shit, man. You know, what separates you from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, what makes you a Gentile state of mind, okay? Which is going to get you killed, because your mind has to be transformed into knowing your power and moving in that, man. All right? Calling on the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you know, putting away the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, and things of that nature, man. You know? And just being zealous for the truth, man. You know? And calling out to your people, letting them know what's going on. You know? Being a living sacrifice, presenting your body a living sacrifice, man. You know? We ain't shit. We're a burnt offering, man. You know? We're not no idols. We're not nothing like these people think of themselves. They're real high-minded. They're conceited. You you know. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. Shalom.